perfect spring day here, and I've been round the Somme battlefields during the course of this morning, making some video content for the channel. And I've just come up here to Thiepval before we think about heading home. I'm very lucky living down in the southeast part of Britain. I can come across on day trips to the landscape of the Great War here on the Western Front. So I've come here to Thiepval, which is mighty Thiepval, the big memorial to the missing that commemorates those 72,000 British and Commonwealth soldiers who have no known grave. And I'm sitting here on one of the higher points, not the highest, but one of the higher points on the Somme. You can see the memorial. Hello in North Yorkshire there. You can see the memorial from quite some distance. The trees all date from after the Second World War. This was quite an open landscape before that. And in fact, amongst some of those trees there is the signs of shell holes and trenches. And I'm not going to walk up to the memorial today because I've only got a limited amount of time here. But I just thought I'd just say a few words about this site as I'm here, and there's at least a few of you that have joined me. At the end of the First World War, there was this vast legion of missing soldiers. These were, I mean, the First World War was different to previous conflicts in that the number of men who had no known grave was so extensive. And most battlefields, about 50% of the dead were missing, didn't have a known grave. And what to do with these men? I mean, how do you commemorate soldiers who were missing? And in previous conflicts, they'd never been commemorated. They'd never been on this scale, but it'd never been commemorated. So how do you do it with this? And that's when this idea for having these mighty memorials that would list on the panels. And if you look at the white faces of the memorial that are facing us as I look up to it now, those are not just stonework that support the upper sections of the memorial. They are the panels that bear the names of the missing. Every regiment of the British Army is on here. There are naval names from many who served in the Royal Naval Division. There are South African names from those who've died in the fighting for Delville Wood in July and around the Butler Corps in October of 1916. It represents a really important kind of cross-section of the kind of men that came to take part in the Battle of the Somme. I once saw someone describe it as kind of an A to Z of English surnames, and it is that. And you wonder how many names cease to exist because of casualties on memorials like this one. So it's an important part of our understanding. The memorial was designed by Edwin Lutyens, who was one of the principal architects of the Commonwealth War Graves Commission. And if you look to that upper section there, he envisaged having a viewing platform up there where people could go up and view the battlefields. I mean, I have been to the top of it myself, but it isn't open to the public, which is a great shame because the memorials, the view from the top of the memorial is really quite something, but it's not an easy way getting up there, which is why I suspect the Commission don't allow access. But if you look at the front of the memorial where the two little doors are, left and right, they take you inside, and there's a stairwell that takes you to one of the first upper levels. Bizarrely, in the Second World War, during the German occupation, those doors were open quite frequently and people could go in there. And one of my old friends who used to be a War Graves Commission gardener went up there late one afternoon to try and catch some pigeons so he could take them home to his mother to have pigeon pie. But he got locked in there for the night by the Germans. The Germans shut the door, locked the door, and he was stuck up on the top of the Thiepval Memorial for the night. And his mother thought he'd been arrested by the Gestapo or something and dragged off to prison. But he turned up the next day when the doors were open. He sneaked out under the eyes of the Germans, got away, took his pigeons home, and despite bringing home something for tea, his mother gave him a bit of a hiding, I think, when he got back for having spent the night outside during that terrible long period of occupation that they had in the Second World War. So there's so many stories that crisscrossed. I mean, we often talk about on the podcast the crisscross paths of the First World War, and this kind of place is certainly one of those where, you know, that happens quite a lot. And it's not everyone's cup of tea. I mean, it's an empire memorial in so many kind of different ways. The design of it and the kind of feel of it, that mixture, typical lichen structure of mixture of white Portland stone and red brick. But it is an impressive memorial that I think kind of mirrors the scale of loss here on the Somme in 1916. And some of the visitors are beginning to come up. I had it to myself when I first arrived. I never like to disturb people's visits because very often they've come to visit a family member. But I just want to do a quick going live from Thiepval while I was here. And today, as I mentioned, I've been recording some video up at Commemorating, up on that part of the battlefield, and you'll see that up on the channel shortly. So it's just a hello from me, sitting here on the wall of the Thiepval Memorial, right in the heart of the Somme battlefields. I hope that's been an interesting little live from the Somme, and it's the kind of shape of things to come, because as we come up towards the 110th anniversary, there's going to be quite a lot of live broadcasts from these battlefields, including around the actual anniversary itself. So thanks for tuning in. It's only been a short one this time, and I'll see you again soon for another live from the old front line.